Daily life, yeah, wake up, exercise, tend to the animals, look at the schedule, the to-do list. There's 101 million things you need to do while you're living on land, you know? Every day is a new day, new job. Yeah, my name is Clark. I live in right here. I come from here. I come from where my feet hit the ground. But I grew up in St Kilda in Melbourne. I wish I had learned about permaculture before I started traveling. Because of my travels, I've been in many, many places, but never really tried to find out about or educate myself about agricultural adventures, you know. Did I first hear about it when I moved up here? I'm not sure. I can't remember. But here is where it's kind of taken shape, you know. The first thing I did was study horticulture. And that was the kind of, okay, maybe the industry is going that way. And then through that, I think, because the same TAFE, community college, was teaching permaculture, I thought, oh, you know, maybe I'll do that one day. And at one point when I was looking at the horticulture, I thought, oh, permaculture, horticulture, I'm not sure. This probably has more jobs in it, maybe. Maybe. You don't know. So you do that. But I didn't do it for work, I did it for education. Mullumbimby Farmers Market. Hosted at the Mullumbimby Showgrounds, where every year they house the Mullumbimby Show. What do I like about the market? Well, unlike the supermarket, not everyone's in a rush. Everyone's in a rush to get out of the supermarket. Here it's like, no, okay, what do I need? Oh, you see some people that are rushing. Yeah. What else do I like about this place? The people that run it, the people that work here. Over years you get to know the people, you know. You know, you could use the permaculture principle, slow and steady solutions. Start looking at your supermarket bill. What could you get from a bulk food shop that perhaps gets their products from a closer distance, so that you're not adding to the food miles that aren't listed on your packaging costs.
We're today at Namabunda Farm, where we're camping for a few days, and this project has been running for 4 or so years, and it was initiated originally by a relationship between Ethos Global Foundation and Bunjalung Tribal Society, who are the landowners on site. They joined forces on seeing if they could facilitate projects to happen which can support specifically Indigenous health originally. So we're on land of the Widjabul people here, a group of the Bundjalung Nation. So what we're going to do is put maybe a few little patches of pumpkin seeds there, and we hope that our scrub turkey's left now, so we actually get the pumpkin. So maybe like 3 little patches of 2 just all around that hole, and then we'll come, hopefully with you guys, we'll get back here again. The project we're on is us doing a sort of orchard transformation into a food forest of a 20 to 30 year overgrown lychee orchard. So it's had a long period of time of being under vines and lantana and barna grass and camphor laurel and big overgrown lychee trees, which are still productive but no longer manageable. It's just feeding birds and bats, and it's all overgrown, so it's no longer for economic production.
And horticulture does offer really, I love their focus on understanding a bit of botany, botanical names, planting. There's a lot of great information in that course, but I don't feel that it has the same attitude to reading and working with the natural landscape and nature and what she likes to do. That is one of the beauties of permaculture, is we don't, as a designer, when I'm sitting down in a place like this, I don't decide that this is where I want a tree. Like, if you have a particular tree and it has particular needs, you have to find the spot for it. So the land dictates how and what you're going to do on it if you let it, you know. With horticulture, it's often like, no, I want to do this is what I'm going to do, like, you know, make the changes I need to. So,
So I was visiting my friends and clients and their backyard that we built together last year. And I say built together because they helped me a lot. I designed it and created it. Now they're growing their food in it, and that was the whole focus of this backyard, was habitat but food producing. So now they're able to every day take something from the garden, put it in their mouth. It's so good.
So this is one of our garden areas. We've got 3 garden areas. This one we grow most of our summer crops in during the wet season. And so you can see I've got a lot of perennials here, the cassava and spices like the galangal and turmeric and Jerusalem artichokes, so lots of tubers, Jerusalem artichokes, yacons, taro. So let's go around and chuck this into the chicken's forage yard, or I can put some in here, actually. Oh dear, somebody's not shutting the gate properly. There you go, girls. Through the 80s and early 90s, all our communication was via newsletters and the International Permaculture Journal. And in the USA they had another publication called the Permaculture Activist. And then in the mid-90s, when the World Wide Web came on, then things started to sort of shift to online, and that has certainly enabled a much wider exchange of information. But permaculture's spread has really been largely due to the PDC, the Permaculture Design course. So this is a woodlot and wildlife corridor. It's a native forest system, which is sort of productive as well as here for the natives. I've got these little dense groves of our local rainforest bush foods and medicines and craft plants. So the palm lilies here, these broadleaf ones. Some of these will have really wide leaves, and they're traditionally used for wrapping food for cooking, especially fish. Oh, it's just divine.
So the PDC is the base course for permaculture.
Which means?
It would be, say you were interested in doing, you were like, oh, yeah, I'd like to learn a bit more about permaculture. It's like, I think, might be something I'm interested in. Or you have a property and you're like, actually, permaculture would be a really good concept for this. But you have no real knowledge or understanding of what it's about. You do a PDC. 72 hours, it's a giant download of all the concepts that we kind of, where it should be an up-to-date, smorgasbord of all the concepts we use. It goes through a bit of ecology. It helps you to start to be able to read landscapes and put together pieces and designs, basic. It's intense though, and that after that you need to really practice it. If you don't practice all that information, you're going to lose it because it's a massive download.
A lot about legumes and nitrogen. We know that they've got a specific relationship with specific bacteria that feed it nitrogen. We're learning more and more that there's all sorts of organisms that have relationships with being good at getting phosphorus, good at getting boron, good at getting this and that. So nitrogen's just that tip of the iceberg. We're starting to learn that. We now realise there's this whole web of stuff. I think probably as permaculture education and the PDC particularly has evolved over time, and I think needs to keep evolving, is a lot more of that hands-on practical engagement. I think that through the PDC and the permaculture education model is a really valuable design framework and way of thinking, and is a real intense crash course on lots of subjects.
Well, it's different when it's passed down in a book because the actions, they're not there. You don't learn the information as easy. What's the statistic I read the other day about synapses in the brain, and it takes like 500 times to do something for a new synapse to, connect. But when you're doing something like an activity or a group setting where you have the knowledge of dance or singing or something that's creative, it takes maybe 10 times if I'm not mistaken. You don't see the bigger picture that is painted for big industry to provide stuff on the supermarket shelf. Behavioural change, hardest thing to do. If everyone stopped shopping at the supermarket and you were employed by the government for yourself to grow food for yourself, who wouldn't? Sorry, you have to spend more time at home with your kids and your family and teach them how to grow just as your father would have or your mother would have. What a terrible change that would be. Less work outside and more work at home. But you can't do that in an apartment block. Let's try something new then, maybe, Let's do something else. So, Did I think that I was going to change the world by getting involved in permaculture? Not really, no. I thought I'd just try something for education. It's all education purposes for me. That's what I'm on the journey of knowledge. Whether it's how to grow a carrot or how to put up a structure. What do you need when you're surviving? You know, food, shelter, and water. Find them wherever it is.